22nd of October 2014. Hoping you had yourselves a lovely day. Good evening. My name is Walvinya Wanyasa. We'll take a look at some of the stories that we have for you in our headlines. Cost of power connections reduced. Online driving license renewal. Just how do you go about it? And we meet the most eloquent and renowned public speakers. Welcome. Now, the cost of electricity is set to drop significantly if a new design that reduces the cost of construction materials is adopted. Now, the design is expected to cut the cost of connecting new consumers, especially in the rural areas, to an average of 30,000 Kenyan shillings. Zawadi Modibo gives us more.
The design to be applied mainly in rural areas will see Kenya Power use fewer cables and poles to connect households to the national grid. Lower cost of connection is to be realized through the use of single, thinner and lighter cables as opposed to the current system that uses 2 or 4 cables to connect domestic consumers. Kenya Power is also planning to cut costs by using smaller poles that will be spaced 100 meters apart instead of the current 50 meters. Kenya Power Managing Director Ben Chumo says the distributor will save on every aspect, and this will bring down connection rates within the 600-meter radius to an average of 30,000 shillings from the current 105,000 shillings. The use of the new technology comes as the Jubilee government races to meet its target of connecting 1 million new customers to the national grid in the fiscal year ending June 2015. The twin obligations of meeting set government targets and shouldering the burden of higher connection costs had left Kenya Power in a fix, especially after government withdrew a 2.7 billion subsidy it had offered to plug the financing gap between the market cost of 105,000 shillings and the 35,000 shillings paid by consumers living within 600 meters radius of a transformer. Now, the single wire earthing return system or design is a framework that uses the earth as the return conductor. What that means is that metal rods are dug 2 or 3 meters into the ground to provide the ground connection. Now, experts say that this method not only cuts costs associated with the material, but also labor and transport. And that also helps make the development of the network faster. Reporting for WTV News, my name is Zawadi Modibo.
Now, this story brings us to the question of the day. Do you think the proposed connectivity rates are affordable? Do you think the proposed connectivity rates are affordable? Do SMS us your thoughts on 20058. We get to sample some of your thoughts and sample them on our Facebook page, WTV Kenya. Moving on, for years, renewing of a driver's license has proven to be quite a tussle for many people. But thankfully, with the introduction of the online renewal platform, the process is expected to be much easier. But just how do you get to do it? We find out.
For many decades, drivers had to queue to have their driving licenses renewed, with majority of them having to travel many kilometers for the same.
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Augustus Jackson Wanderi. Nimesikia hii ya kurenew na online. Nimesikia ni benefit mzuri kwa sisi juu hatutapanga laini. Lakini kitambo ulikuwa unapanga laini, inabidi utume mtu umulipe ndio akuendea haraka. Sasa hii style ikianza nitaona kama itakuwa mzuri.
Mimi naitwa Maina ama Mwangi. Otherwise mimi ni investor mmoja pande ya matatu. Okay, all I can say is I'm happy with the new now, the online now renewal of licenses, because compared with the previous one, we used to waste a lot of time, maybe sometimes queuing there, and at the end of the day you end up even not renewing your license. But now we appreciate the good job, because it is even efficient to part of our drivers. Like now You'll just log in your phone, and there you are, you renew your license. So all we can also appeal is even now, even with the PSVs, also they can try and do something in the PSV renewals for inconveniencing of our drivers. Yeah.
However, with the introduction of e-government online platform, things have now changed and renewal of driving licenses can now be done at the comfort of your home, office or a cyber cafe, and you can pay using mobile money, debit cards, credit cards and mobile banking.
Online niko sawa, hakuna kupanga line, hakuna. Yeah. Very good online. Simu chacha. Naishi hapo.
Nilikuwa nasikia but si kwa sure nayo siri nini mbaya. Naona ile nini ya kitambo iko sawa, but hii yenye wameleta saa hizi ziko complicated kiasi.
The process entails logging into ntsa.ecitizen.go.ke and signing in. Click on the National Transport Safety Authority link and choose Driving License Renewal. Enter your reference number at COFC, the numbers in brackets. If you're not sure, send an SMS with the word DL to 22430, and once subscribed, dial *512#, enter your ID and you will know your reference number. Then choose on the renewal payment. Step 3. Confirm details and proceed to pay using available payment options. Click on Services and download your renewal slip, print, cut and stick on your driving license. With all this in place, it will be easier for many motorists to save time and money. This will not only enhance efficiency, but will also curb corruption.
Now, the need for getting insurance, and especially life insurance, is not one that is very well embraced by many Kenyans. That's the need for consumer education by insurance companies in order to attract more buyers, especially for life insurance. Irene Galgalo gives us more insight.
Kenya's informal sector boasts of having up to about 10 million people who, like their counterparts in the formal sector, need insurance services. However, not all Kenyans understand the need and importance of having an insurance cover, more so a life insurance. Abel Munda, the managing director CFC Life, explains.
You may have the right products, but these are not people you sell to as you sell to somebody who is employed and whose contribution is going to come by way of salary savings or salary reduction. So how do you access the people in Gikomba, for example? How do you access the people who are, in the villages, the Juakali artisans, all these people? You must have the right distribution strategy to be able to reach those people. Otherwise, you can have the right solutions, but if you can't access the people, it shall be no good.
With over 65% of Kenyans being under the age of 35, insurance companies are challenged to come up with products that serve the needs of the country's youth.
As an insurance company, do we have the right products? That is what we constantly ask ourselves, and we do carry out surveys. What kind of products should we have for the youth? What kind of products should we have for these young people?
With claims that the insurance industry in the country has suffered due to lack of bank assurance, CFC Life Managing Director says that even with the current legislation, insurance companies partnering with different banks must be able to understand the kind of products sold in order to work together.
And the model of bank assurance that we seem to be rolling out in this market is where the banks own insurance agencies. So they sell through their insurance agencies. And I know of at least 10 banks that have done this. But it does take, there's a bit of a lead time because there's need for the insurance organizations to go and train them. So each bank may want to partner with a respective insurance company or companies, but they must be able to understand because the agents are theirs. Most banks don't want insurance agents to be the ones selling their products. So the banks want to own the agency relationship. So if they want to own their agency relationships, they must be trained on our products.
This was said during a media workshop held by the CFC Life Group, where they announced plans to rebrand to Liberty Life Assurance Kenya Limited. For WTV News, I am Irene Galgalo.
Now, in relation to the reduced cost of power connection story we heard earlier asked, do you think the proposed connectivity rates are affordable? Do you think the proposed connectivity rates are affordable? Do let us know on SMS 20058. We get to sample some of your thoughts and post them on our Facebook page, WTV Kenya. And on to March's Arts. Effective public speaking is aimed at persuading an audience. The art entails a lot of input in order to relay a given message or a desired message. Now we focus on public speaking and how it is that you can make it more effective.
One of the most important aspects of public speaking is your voice. It influences the impact of your message and can either break or make the success of your speech. So just how should one deliver a speech effectively? Imagine what it would be like to start your presentation and wonder why no one in the audience is listening, or they fidget or simply just walk out. Won't you feel like you are in the wrong room giving your presentation?
The things we have experienced, imagined and learned. There is no way memory can work without taking information.
Dan Mongera, a public speaker and coach, tells us what exactly public speaking is.
Because it involves the conscious recollection of information that can be verbally communicated. Public speaking, it's public entrance of the man or the woman herself. And therefore, I usually say the first thing, both in time and importance, is that a man should be and think and feel things that are worthy of being given forth. Of course, the layman understanding will be simply talking to a group of people. But then the key thing is, how effective are you in communicating to this group of people?
Public speaking often depends on the audience. Young audiences have unique needs for public speakers to address. In most cases, the youth often want to hear interesting and fun narrative, as every presentation extols the power of stories. Good speakers vary their speech to express emotion and conviction.
The key elements in public speaking, when we go deep, we talk about logos, pathos, and ethos. But in the real sense, it's what's your content? That's a key element. What makes you your subject? And then another key element is audibility. Are you audible enough? Are people able to hear you? In audibility, we also talk about tone variation. Is your voice monotonous, or you're talking in a manner that you're communicating a subject in an interesting way?
Be in the timeless city of Cairo and to be hosted by two remarkable institutions.
Famous orators from around the world like Barack Obama,
because I've been to the mountaintop,
Martin Luther King, are known to deliver words following the basic elements of speaking effectively.
like anybody else.
Public speaking is an art that can be practiced, as it is a powerful tool to persuade and inform. Reporting for WTV News, my name is Agnes Minor.
Now, in Kampala's suburbs and slums, Kung Fu is quickly becoming a popular way of getting into shape, learning the art of discipline, and more so, breaking into the country's booming action film industry known as Wakaliwood. Radin Biko gives us more insight into Wakaliwood.
As it is in Hollywood, the children call themselves stars of Wakaliwood after their Wakaliga village in Kampala, Uganda. Throwing punches and kicks in the air, a group of youngsters from 4 to 9 years old are learning how to strike the enemy. Not enemy in real life, but those in an action movies. Isaac Nabwana is a local filmmaker, a producer and a writer in Kampala. His Ramon Film Production, located in Kampala slum, is the brain behind the idea of teaching children Kung Fu.
Most movies are drama before a camera. It's drama before a camera. Instead of seeing exactly what a movie should be. So for me, I have a feeling that if I train these children and I train them how to act, it will help the industry.
Uganda has an emerging film industry commonly known as Ugawood. Nabwana said the future for the East African country's movie industry lies within the children. For the children, mastering the arts and becoming famous in action movie stars have become their ultimate goal. Some of them have already made their first appearance in an action movie, The Crazy World.
My dream is to be a film star when I grow up. In a movie, The Crazy World, I used my Kung Fu skills to defend myself against child kidnappers.
The movie in which Beatrice and other children act is related to child sacrifice, a common problem in the country. However, local movie makers like Nabwana said piracy is still a big challenge for the movie industry in Uganda.
People are saying, those high budget movies and they're 1,000 shillings. How can you sell it? How can you sell yours 3,000 shillings? So it is not easy. If you are not a patriot, you cannot buy our movie.
But with the digital migration taking place in East Africa and the need for the 60% local content, the future looks green for Isaac and other independent content providers, as they will be smiling all the way to the bank. Rading Biko, reporting for WTV.
Well, that's it from our news desk this evening. Do have yourselves a blessed one. My name is Wavenya Wanyasa.